There is a man in every organization who almost never disagrees. He nods, he validates. He tells you that your idea is good, that your concern is valid, that he sees exactly where you're coming from. People find him easy, comfortable, safe, and slowly, without anyone noticing, he becomes the most powerful person in the room. Not through force, not through brilliance, through agreement. Studies on social influence show that people consistently overestimate the power of assertiveness and underestimate the power of strategic compliance. The loudest voice rarely wins long-term. The most agreeable one often does. So the question isn't whether you've met someone like this. The question is, have you ever realized what they were actually doing to you? This is the mind shadow. We study the mechanics of human behavior, the parts no one talks about openly. Today's topic sits right on the edge of psychology and strategy. Agreeing with people feels passive, weak even. That's exactly what makes it dangerous when someone knows how to use it deliberately. What you're about to learn isn't theory. It's a documented pattern used by negotiators, cult leaders, elite salespeople, and some of the most effective political operators in history. By the end of this video, you'll understand the neurological reason it works, the dark version that's been used to manipulate millions, and the ethical version you can start using immediately. Pay attention. This is one of those things you can't unsee. Let's start with a real case. In the late 1960s, a man named Jim Jones built one of the most powerful social movements in American history. He didn't do it with threats at first. He did it with relentless validation. People who joined his congregation described feeling, for the first time, genuinely heard. Jones would mirror their beliefs back at them. He'd affirm their pain, agree with their suspicions about the world. He built loyalty not through argument, but through agreement, until agreement became dependency, and dependency became something far darker. That's the extreme end. But the mechanism is universal. When you agree with someone, something specific happens inside them. They feel understood. And feeling understood is one of the most powerful emotional needs a human being has. Most people go their entire lives without feeling truly understood. The person who provides that, even artificially, immediately holds psychological leverage. This isn't manipulation in its early stages. It's attunement. Every skilled therapist, every great negotiator, every leader who ever built genuine loyalty, they all started here. They agreed before they led. They validated before they redirected. The difference between influence and manipulation is what you do next. But the mechanism at the start, it's identical. Here's where neuroscience makes this undeniable. When someone agrees with you, genuinely or even just convincingly, your brain releases a small amount of dopamine. This is documented. It's the same reward circuit activated by food, physical touch, and social belonging. Agreement feels good at a chemical level. You are literally being rewarded just for being agreed with. Now flip that. When someone disagrees with you, especially publicly, the brain registers it as a social threat. The amygdala activates. You become defensive, cortisol rises slightly, you stop listening and start protecting. This is why the smartest people in a room often have the least influence over it. They lead with disagreement. They correct. They challenge. And without meaning to, they trigger the threat response in everyone around them. The agreeable person does the opposite. They suppress the threat response before it starts. They create neurological safety. And in that safety, people open up. They share more. They trust faster. They become, without realizing it, psychologically dependent on that feeling of being accepted. Researchers at Stanford studying negotiation found that the most effective negotiators spent significantly more time acknowledging the other party's perspective before introducing their own. Not because they were weak, because they understood that a brain in threat mode cannot be persuaded. A brain in reward mode can. Agreement is neurological preparation. It is softening the target before the real move. Now let's talk about how this is used against you. Right now. Constantly. Think about the last time a salesperson made you feel deeply understood before they pitched you. Think about the political candidate who seemed to speak your exact frustrations out loud before asking for your vote. Think about the person in your life who always seems to be on your side, right up until they need something. This technique has a name in dark psychology circles. It's called pacing. You match someone's emotional state, their beliefs, their worldview. You walk alongside them. You become, in their perception, one of them. Only then do you lead, and they follow, because the trust has already been built through agreement. Cult recruitment uses this deliberately. Abusive relationships often begin with it. The early stage of almost every manipulative dynamic is characterized by an overwhelming sense of being understood. Victims of coercive control consistently report that the relationship felt extraordinary at the start, like they'd finally found someone who truly got them. What they didn't see was that the agreement was a mechanism. It was never about understanding them. It was about lowering their guard. So how do you protect yourself? You watch for agreement that comes too fast and feels too complete. Genuine understanding takes time. It involves some friction, some clarification, some back and forth. When someone agrees with everything you say immediately and effortlessly, that's not connection. That's a technique. Real relationships have edges. Manufactured ones are suspiciously smooth. Here's the part that reframes everything. Go back to the open loop from the beginning. The most agreeable person in the room who ends up with all the power. You probably assumed, when I described him, that his agreeableness was a mask, a performance, a lie worn to get what he wanted. But here's the twist. The most dangerous version of this isn't the person who fakes agreement. It's the person who has genuinely trained themselves to find something real to agree with in almost every situation. That is a fundamentally different psychological operation. It's not dishonesty, it's discipline. It's the ability to hold your own position internally while externally finding the thread of truth in someone else's. That person isn't lying. They're choosing. They are choosing to lead with what connects rather than what divides. And that choice, made consistently and intelligently, builds a kind of trust that manipulation never can, because it's real. The dark version and the ethical version use the same tool. The difference is intent and self-awareness. If you know why you're agreeing, and you're doing it to genuinely build connection and influence outcomes without harming the other person, that is a skill. That is power. If you're doing it to exploit someone's need for validation while harboring an agenda they can't see, that's something else entirely. The mechanism doesn't care which one you are. The result looks the same from the outside. Only you know the difference. The next time you walk into a room full of competing voices, remember this: the one who argues the loudest is fighting for approval. The one who agrees with precision is building something. Influence doesn't announce itself. It installs itself quietly, through trust, through validation, through the patient accumulation of goodwill. Now you know the mechanism. What you do with it is yours to decide. If this changed how you see the people around you, and it should have, hit subscribe. Every week, the Mind Shadow goes deeper into the psychology that actually drives human behavior. The parts that operate underneath every conversation, every relationship, every power structure you've ever been part of. The knowledge is here. Use it wisely. I'll see you in the shadows.